Yo, what's up, wolves? Hope you're doing well. Good to see everybody. So, this video might drag on. Hopefully it doesn't, but I don't want to leave anything unturned here, I guess you can say. So as you guys have been seeing with the industry, there has been a big change, a big shift in terms of what's been going on. A lot of similar strategies that we have known and loved have officially reached a point where we're seeing diminishing returns. We've seen this with Sony pushing exclusives, and ironically, for the most part, we thought everything was fine, right? Until recently. There was some news that came out that Sony stock has plunged $10 billion after its PS5 sales cut. Now, keep in mind, the big thing, they're not even questioning that. The big thing they're questioning in regards to this information, just to even save you guys of me reading this, the big thing they're talking about is the near decade low games margin. Now, keep on with that. We're gonna keep that in mind as we talk about everything else that's been happening. Before we even got to where we are today, where we're talking about games going to other platforms, hence the actual title and hence the thumbnail, etc., there has been a lot of questions in regards to what exactly is coming out when it comes to PlayStation 5. In fact, in many ways, Sony has been more quiet than I've ever seen in regards to releases for AAA games from their first-party studios, especially looking at the standard that was set with PlayStation 4. It felt like every 2 years, every year and a half, we were getting some kind of update, whether it be trailers or anything of that nature, to what exactly is coming. But since the purchases of, Haven Studios, Demolition Games, and so forth, there hasn't been any worthwhile updates in regards to that. But what we did get in regards to updates? We got layoffs. Reported layoffs from Demolition Games. We got layoffs from Insomniac Games and so forth. And Sony's not the only one who's announced layoffs. Of course, some of the biggest layoffs was with Activision Blizzard after the merger and purchase for $69 billion from Microsoft. The industry is clearly telling us a few things. Now, here's why we're here, and here's why we're talking about exclusivity and why potentially it is going to reach its end very, very soon. Hiroki Totoki did an interview, okay? In this interview, he talked about the future of PlayStation and what their strategy is going to be. Now, his main thing I want you guys to pay attention to is how aggressive he's going to be in terms of pushing for first-party games on third-party. Now, a lot of people are going to flat out try to misconstrue what he says and flip this into somewhere else. And don't worry, we're going to get to that, but nonetheless. But before we even get into even more of this, let's just go ahead and hear from Hiroki Totoki. And then we'll come back and we'll have an honest conversation in terms of what exactly is going on in regards to PlayStation. All right? So let's go ahead and roll that right now.
And the other potential driver is the first-party title generation. Because in the past, as you all know, we wanted to popularize console. And the title was something, and the first-party title main purpose was to make the hardware or the console popular, right? It is true, right? But there's a synergy to it. So if we have a strong first-party content, not only with our console, but also other platforms like computers, and the first-party can be grown with the multi-platforms, and that can help operating profit to improve. So that's another one that we want to practically work on. I personally think there are opportunities out there for improvement of margin. So I would like to go aggressive on improving our margin performance.
All right, so we got his take, and here are my thoughts on the whole situation. So, as you guys are already seeing with the way things are going, console sales, everything of that nature, listen, console gaming will always have a ceiling in terms of how many consoles are actually sold overall. PlayStation 4 got pretty damn close to PS2 numbers, right? Nintendo Switch is damn near up there with PS2 numbers, all that stuff. But the thing is, no console has ever touched PlayStation 2's actual sales margin in terms of how many units are out there. None. And as you guys are clearly seeing with the diminishing returns, with Sony announcing that that their stock had took a $10 billion hit after, their sales cut. And also, many industry analysts are now questioning, Sony's near decade low games margin. It definitely says a lot of things that are happening in front of us. Now, is this a survivability type of thing in regards to PlayStation and Xbox? In many ways, I would say yes. In many ways, I would say no. Here's what I think is going on. Games, and this is what Sean Layden said, all these AAA budget games is not sustainable for the long run. It's not. We can throw as many millions of dollars into these games, but if these games aren't selling well, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't really sustain what we're putting out there, what we're putting in / what we're getting out of it. You know what I'm saying? We're not getting that. So you're seeing this with these consoles. You're seeing this with these games. All I'm seeing right now with this decision is them trying to get more on their investment. And at the end of the day, in order to get more, gamers involved in this, in order to get more sales out of gamers, they're going to have to open these games up to another platform. And this is where a lot of people need to understand and wake up. This isn't about loyalty and brand loyalty of any kind. This right here is overall maintaining the standards that we got with PlayStation and hell, even Xbox. You guys want those AAA budget games? Well, okay. Well, I hate to break it to you, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but if I really was to be that guy, I could be that guy and say that a lot of people who spend these times on these Twitter spaces don't buy these games. And the funny thing is, no one can debate me on this because the numbers show this. You know what I'm saying? Dudes talk about 2.7 million and 100,000 are good for games like Returnal and stuff like that. But then want to hype these games up like these games are the greatest things of all time and are XYZ. And again, I keep telling you guys, man, this whole mindset, this whole complacent nature of, low sales and whatnot needs to stop. It really needs to stop. There should be higher standards in these regards. But the thing is, nobody wants to have that conversation. Now, in question, or in a way, I'm looking at this, I'm just like processing it. I'm like, okay, makes sense. And, if we go by 2020 to 2021, exclusives definitely mattered, right? And, especially with the Activision situation, like with Microsoft spending $69 billion or $70 billion on Activision, many people would argue, like, why would they ever put those games on other platforms, right? It makes sense to keep exclusive. Well, now it's 2024, ladies and gentlemen. And the industry is changing to the point where, both platforms, both, industry leaders at this point are flat out telling you that they have not grown to the point where they can, generate enough revenue. It's crazy. It really, really is crazy. So in retrospect, I guess you could say, right? I guess in a weird way, with all this news, man, I just like, wow, this is just, it's crazy. It really, really is, man. I'm not surprised by this at all, though. I really, really am not. I keep telling dudes, man, stop with this console war, man. Focus what's going on in your own house, but it clearly shows what people clearly care about more. Now that we got this down to a science, so to speak, let's just address what's going to happen. A lot of people think day and date will not happen because Sony, said so in regards to certain things when it comes to service games. Here's the thing about Sony, and I need you to act like you're encyclopedias for Sony, to be honest with the people for once and stop trying to act like knight in shiny armors, because Sony already lied to you before. You remember at the start of this generation where they said PS5 was going to have its own dedicated PS5 games at the launch, and it wasn't going to be no cross-gen titles? And what happened, ladies and gentlemen? They legit hustled the living hell out of every single last one of you with Spider-Man Miles Morales. in multiple games. In fact, there have been more cross-gen titles with PlayStation 5 and 4 than we actually thought was going to happen. We were stuck in cross-gen for the longest time. In many ways, it feels like we still are. Think about that. Think about that. You know? It's crazy. Like people think Sony can't change their mind on anything. They will change their minds on anything. And here's why they're going to change their minds on this whole day and date module. There's a game called Helldivers which is taking the gaming market by storm right now. This game has more concurrent players than we had with Halo Infinite and Starfield. This game has done the Lord's work for Sony at this point. And this is the first game that they've actually launched day and day with PC and console. And here's the wild part to all the dudes that might try to take credit from the PC, market or the PC gamers. There are more PC gamers on Steam playing Helldivers than there are on PlayStation. Crazy, ain't it? You don't think Sony's looking at these numbers, these projections and are going, wow, I wonder what will happen if we drop our single player in this day and date. I wonder what will happen if we drop our next, Assassin's Creed, Uncharted, day and date with PS5 releases. You don't think they're seeing this stuff? And to the people who are already probably getting defensive in my comment section and going crazy, I want you guys to understand something. Because I already know what you're going to say. That's going to hurt the PlayStation console. Guys like me will leave. Newsflash, you guys are not going anywhere. You guys said this at the beginning of these games going to PC. What did you guys say? Oh, if they drop a game on PC, I'm done with PlayStation. I'm done. I don't want a single one of our games going to the PC Master Race, blah, blah, blah. And guess what? As soon as the games went there, you guys found a way to move the goalposts. Well, I don't care. Those are 5-year-old games, 6-year-old games. I don't care, right? And then as the years went on, more games dropped. And guess what? The wait time in between those releases dropped. It went from 6-year-old games to 2-year-old games to 1-year-old games to now less than 6 months in releases. To the point where you guys said, I'm done if it happens once, right? To now you guys are saying, oh, at least it's not day and date. What if it's day and date? What are you going to do if it's day and date? Nothing. I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're still going to play your PS5. You're still going to hype up every game that you get on PlayStation 5. You're still going to talk about your games on PS5. Why? Because if you're a PlayStation gamer and you truly care about PlayStation and the quality that these guys have produced for the decades that they have been in this industry and the entertainment that they have provided you over the generations that we have been gamers, you will support PlayStation regardless of whether or not that game is accessible on PC or hell, even Xbox or mobile or Nintendo Switch or whatever the case may be. You will support the brand that you are comfortable with. And the same thing can be said about the Xbox console gamers. I get it. You guys have been loyal. I get it. But what if I told you guys about this in multiple videos? I've done this in rants on live streams. I've done this in multiple podcasts that I've been a guest on. Brand loyalty does not equate to anything in regards to what you're going to get in the long run. I need you guys to stop acting like just because you talk about these games in a certain degree, whether it be in Twitter spaces, YouTube comment sections, or anything of that nature, it does not automatically mean you are going to be looked at differently from anybody else, okay? The vocal minority do not make up the vast majority of casuals that predict the outcome of these consoles in the market. This has been something that has been going on for the longest time, and I thought all of you would at least understood this by now. It doesn't matter how many times you complain about a game going anywhere, okay? It doesn't matter. The games are going to go there because you, the one who's crying, are not buying the games that are being talked about. You're not. And so many of you are picky as it is, so it's even more funny to me when I see people complaining about this. If you are this picky where you don't want to, when you want to act like, and y'all see this happen all the time. They'll be like, oh, that game looks good, but I'm going to wait for it on sale. These are the same dudes that be trying to hype you up in Twitter spaces. Well, the game is worth the money, but I'm going to get it on sale. Guess what? That's the reason why we're in this situation. Nintendo fans don't have this issue. They buy their games. That's why Nintendo is not even close to talking about this type of situation. Sony and Microsoft have not grown to the point where they have seen actual growth to make revenue, to generate more revenue for these games. That's the reason why things are changing. That is why there is a massive shift in the industry. That is why exclusive games are more than likely going to fade out by the time we even get the PlayStation 6. I would not be surprised to see Halo Infinite or Indiana Jones or damn Gears of War or whatever on PlayStation. I would not be surprised to see these games come to PlayStation. What's funny about this is the pure hypocrisy that's come in the form of this. Dudes that were slandering these games are now the biggest fans of these games. Dudes hyping up Hi-Fi Rush like they've been waiting for this game for years, but yet said it was Game Pass fodder. And Starfield, dudes saying Starfield was trash and all these crazy analysis and all these other breakdowns. Yet you guys are hyped to play Starfield and talking about platinuming Starfield. These are the things I'm talking about. You dudes do not have a backbone to stand on. You guys do not know what you want. And that right there is the reason why the numbers are all over the place. Because you guys don't know what you want. You don't know if you want single player games. You don't know if you want service games. Dudes, for the longest time, said service games are trash, right? But here you are buying Helldivers. Dudes said they didn't like, they want certain iconic franchises to come back for PlayStation. Sony takes risks on some of these games. And guess what? You don't buy them. It's showing in the numbers. That is why we are here, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why it continues to get worse. PlayStation will always be here. Xbox will continue to be here. In some capacity, all companies will be here. They will continue to make content. But the thing I need you guys to understand is this. We are not the ones who dictate how things go. We're not anymore. It comes down to casuals. The casuals at the end of the day are not losing sleep over Spider-Man 2 possibly going to PC, or hell, or Spider-Man 3 being day and PC, Xbox games going to PC. They're not losing sleep over this. They're not. At the end of the day, it comes down to what you love. If you are a fan of the Xbox ecosystem, then guess what? Get into the Xbox ecosystem. Stay there. Have fun. Enjoy it. If you are a fan of the PlayStation ecosystem, like I have always been a fan of it, you're not going anywhere. But make no mistake about it. If you are about a few things that, in terms of power, if you're talking about this power narrative and you're talking about graphics and all this stuff, odds are you're probably going to be taking some steps in regards to the PC realm. Because I hate to break it to you, PC gaming is where the power narrative will always be. It's that simple. And this whole exclusives, it's going to look better on this. That's going to be gone. What you're going to have is Steam machines that are branded by PlayStation and Xbox. And these Steam machines are going to be what you guys get your content from on these mid-gen or these generation PCs that we're going to be getting down the road. That's just how it's going to be. You're going to have that with these new PS5s and, and the 6 and all that stuff. Sony's already talking about a PS5 Pro, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you that want to say I'm wrong and this video is probably going off the rails, what's the last update you guys heard about Haven Studios or Demolition Games? Where was the last update you guys heard about these games? Where was the last update? You can't tell me, right? Because you don't know, because we don't know anything about this. The last time we heard anything in regards to these new studios was layoffs. Crazy, ain't it? Crazy. But I understand. I get it. I get it. You guys want to be loyal, and that's fine. You could be loyal. But like I told you guys numerous times, brand loyalty does not equate to you guys getting what you guys think you are worth or what you guys want. It's not going to work like that. As far as the future of PlayStation and this industry goes, I am all for the industry. I don't care about the drama that comes in the forms of it. I get it. Everybody's going to be mentally, affected in some weird capacity because games are going to a certain platform. I get it. I find it weird, yes, but I understand why. I understand why. But it is weird to say the least. Overall, man, this right here, this information, the way things are going, the way people are losing their minds, it is what it is, man. You guys are going to be fine. You guys will be all right. More gamers getting to play a game is not a problem. It really, really isn't. More gamers getting to play a game and potentially green lighting sequels is not a problem. Look at Days Gone. For years, we've been asking for Days Gone sequels, right? Days Gone goes to PC, and all of a sudden, it's the talk of the town. PC gamers are loving it. The game works, because it's fixed and all that. People are calling it what it is, a great game, Reviews of the game are definitely different from what they got prior, right? And what happened? All you saw was Sony Ben talk about Days Gone. You had Sony Ben hyping up Days Gone like we're getting a sequel. I'm telling you, man, there are good things to come with more eyes being on a product. There is nothing wrong with more eyes being on a product. There is nothing wrong with a gamer on another platform playing a game. Why? Because you win in the long run. You played the game, they played the game, the developer gets the money that they're entitled to. The developer can expand and get more on the team. And guess what? The more on the team, the faster you can get your sequel, especially when they have the budget to make the game possible. Does it make sense now? Do you see why I'm not upset by any of this stuff? Do you see why I won't lose a fraction of sleep over this information? Do you see why I'm excited still for games to come, despite the fact that everybody wants to talk about exclusives, but yet they don't want to buy exclusives? Do you? This is what's happening in front of you. And I think a lot of you guys need to wake up and accept that change is coming. And I told you this prior. Change is upon you. Change will happen with PlayStation. They're going to do a lot of things that you're not used to and things that you're uncomfortable with, and you're now seeing it. The question is, are you willing to accept it and move forward with your lives, or are you going to continue to be emotional over stuff that you shouldn't be emotional for? That's simple. So this video is dragging on longer than I expected, but at the end of the day, it needed to be said. When more gamers get to play, man, we all win at this point. I'm okay with this. I have no issue with it whatsoever. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm in this bubble and cry because X amount of things are here. Just because gamers get to play on another platform does not take away the value of what you bought in with PlayStation 5. If you love the ecosystem that is the PS5 ecosystem, you're not going anywhere. It's that simple. You're not. If you like the ecosystem that Xbox has, you're not going anywhere. If you're truly a fan of the Xbox ecosystem or PlayStation ecosystem, guess what? You're not going anywhere because you're comfortable and you're right at home. Does it make sense now? I hope it does. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all be good. Peace.